That's a little louder. Still a little hollow. Test. We can do the chipmunk portion of the program. Test. That's a little better. Test. It's getting a little lower, a little warmer.
Yeah, that's kind of where I wanted it to be.
Yeah, there you go. Now
Yeah, I had to unmute the old mic. Jeez, technical difficulties. The fun with live. It's always something.
It's always something.
All right. Now we should be good, I think.
Now that we've lost all of our viewers.
There was none there yet, so no one shows up right when we start, like ever. It's totally fine. Totally fine.
And you won't have any inappropriate comments from me because I'm already here.
Yeah, you're here.
So.
Can't really mess that up. So let me start over again. Welcome to Archetype Aperture. Soon to be something named something completely different. Can't tell you. I'll tell you later offline, but yeah, I'm rebranding, but we're not here for that. But I just wanted to tell you, I'm Jim, and this is, once again, this is Russell with Soscenic.
What's up? How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for joining us.
Not a problem.
Joining me. I don't know why I say us.
Well, you never know.
I'm so used to not having, I've gotten used to not having to do this shit. So now I'm like looking down. I need to be looking at you and focusing on you. So I apologize.
You don't have to look at me. It's all right.
Yeah.
I'm not much to look at.
Oh, you stop it.
That's why I keep this.
You stop it, you silly goose. I'm still playing with this stuff. Oh, there goes the noise gate. You know, it doesn't matter what you do. Live streaming is always fun because you just never know what's going to happen.
Never know.
And if it can happen, it will. Like last week, or was it last week? Yeah, when I had Elliot, the dogs went bananas. I don't know if you were on for that.
I missed that part. But, you know, anytime you have any kind of event that's live, it's going to be,
yeah.
You never know. It's like being at a photo shoot. You just never know what's going to happen.
This is a fact. So let's get into it, man. Like, I want to talk to you. We've had at least 2 podcasts now together. And the first one we talked about your journey and your life story, basically. And the second one was a little more loose, you know, and then you did come on one of my other podcasts, but that's unfortunately that video is gone now. So
probably a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good episode.
Good.
I still have it. I still got it saved somewhere on this computer, but the that YouTube channel is gone.
Yep.
But real quick for all the new people that are joining us, just tell us about yourself, just because I know how long-winded you are, so I'm gonna preemptive say, give me like a short synopsis. And go.
Name's Russell Aramenta. I'm the owner of Soscenic Photography. Forgive my voice. It is off and on from time to time. It gets a little low, a little scratchy these days as I'm getting older. Probably too much coffee. But I've been a photographer twice in my life, as a teenager in a portrait studio and a film lab. And then most recently, the last 5 years, I dipped my toes back into the digital photography world as a hobby. But I don't know how to have a hobby. And the hobby turned into a side hustle, which has turned into a bigger side hustle and eventually will be my retirement plan. And hopefully my darling daughter's business to hand off to, as she is a better photographer than I am. But I've been shooting portraits, events, fashion, celebrities, cars, you name it, for the last 3 years, pretty consistently. And it's been a whirlwind. It's opened doors for me I never thought that were going to be opened, and it's given me a chance to. It's really given me a chance to kind of rekindle a passion I had when I was a child. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
I don't
Look
do
at me.
short.
I'm in this bloody nutshell. No, you don't.
Sorry.
No, I love it. I honestly, I do. And it makes my job so much easier that I don't have to like force feed you things to say. You just know. You just go. You know, I dig it. You've been doing a lot of work lately for brands and for you name it, models, what have you. You're going out of town. You've been going to Miami a lot. I know you just got back from Miami. I really want to get into that whole, like everything that you kind of did there, and like let's just get into that.
It's probably the reason my voice is the way it is, because that was nonstop and that was crazy. So, but yeah, I mean, Miami has been fun. I mean, the first half of the year was kind of weird. I had actually photographed with Chris Lavish. He goes by NYC Lavish on Instagram. He asked me to meet him down in Miami in December for Art Basel, which is the art fairs and that kind of stuff, and to kind of follow him around. And he kind of tested me out then to see how I was with BTS and behind the scenes photography and like quick photo shoots and be able to get content, because he's all about content nonstop, has to post next day, everything from the night before. And so I kind of passed, obviously, with, at least a passing grade in that trip. And he messaged me a couple of weeks, like early June. He messaged me that Swim Week was kind of broken up this year. There's some things going on where...
Is that like Shark Week?
Kinda. But half of Swim Week took place in June, and then the other half of Swim Week took place July 4th week, because of rival branding and companies and people that host shows and all kinds of, fun behind the scenes stuff that, I don't know much about, so I don't try to get too involved. But he said he was coming down in July and would love to have me follow him around. And I thought it was going to be kind of similar to what it was like in December. But this time around, it was different. It was, we rented a penthouse in downtown Miami, which was really cool. Cement floors, cement ceilings, kind of New York vibe kind of to it.
True to his name.
Yeah. And,
quite lavish.
We spent 6 days nonstop shooting during the day, models coming in, shooting models, photographing models. I shouldn't say shooting.
It's a whole thing.
Photographing models, and then doing some brand work for him, for many of the brands that he manages. He does a lot of different things, but he's an entrepreneur. He's an editor. He works for Fashion Week Online. He actually owns that process.
Mm-hmm.
And then, he's got a very tight circle and a very small group of people around him always.
Right.
And I'd like to think that I'm actually kind of getting in there a little bit more, where I'm in that circle now. It felt more like it this time. I can't thank him enough, and I can't thank the people down in Miami, especially associated with Arts Hearts Fashion. And, there's so many people that I met this 2 weeks ago that was just, it blew my mind. But great stuff, great information, great exposure, great, chance to meet people. And then it was hilarious because when we got to the runway shows, we were already shooting all day and everything. And we got to the runway shows and, I thought I was going to get some access, but I didn't think I was going to get the kind of access that I got.
You were right up there.
Gave me full VIP access. We were behind the scenes. We were backstage where the makeup and hair and outfits were being done and interviews and kind of filming all that stuff. And I didn't even really know all the things to capture. So I was trying to capture as much as I can. But my job is to follow him around and capture his moment.
Right.
All the time. There are people that come out of everywhere to give him a hug, like when we're walking around. And I have to be ready for that at a moment's notice. And I can't be spending time looking through my camera, seeing what I got in there, because I'll miss something. And if I miss it.
How long is my battery going to last?
That's.
Was that an issue?
So, no, actually, the battery stuff, actually, I didn't have any issues. I was rocking 3 cameras. So I had my R5 strangely enough, my R5 is the best camera that I have, but I had it as my reserve camera on this trip. So I had the R6 Mark II and I had an R8 that really were my main cameras, and I had a dual strap, so I had basically both cameras on my hips at all times.
Yeah.
And I had, extra batteries and stuff like that, and it was a really great experience. It's nonstop. It's moving at a mile a minute. He doesn't slow down. But it's a great vibe for me because I don't drink and do any kind of recreational stuff of any kind. So, for me, I don't mind being around that environment. Doesn't bother me one bit.
Sure.
Not the least bit.
You kind of have to.
I've been around it my whole life, so I'm not opposed to it in any way. But it's nice to meet somebody who is similar. He's vegan. He's all healthy. He's all yoga. He's all the time just being about your best health and living your best life and focusing on you.
Right.
And he is, at this point, I can call him a friend because we've talked now, I guess, 14 straight days we've spent together working over the last, 6 months or whatever, and having good conversations and learning about each other and everything. And it's come across in the work. I think the work that we did this week during swim week is some of the best work I've ever done, even though I haven't had to work as hard on it.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is...
Well, you guys have developed a rapport with each other.
Yeah, but it's also, I'm learning more and more. One of my mentors, Danny Batista...
Yeah, I saw that he was there.
Was there, and he's in the pit, and I see him over in the pit of 60 photographers for the runway shows. And I'm actually in... he's throwing me off. He's taking selfies. What are you doing? No,
just shooting video.
We couldn't, I couldn't believe how many cameras there were there. Mm-hmm. And that's where I thought I was going to be. And, he says to me, he goes, no, photographers are in the pit. My photographer sits front row with me. And I was like, but okay. And I learned a long time ago to not actually question anything that, when he starts doing something or starts moving or starts walking towards something, I don't even ask. I just pull my phone up or pull my camera up and I start recording and I go with it. We met Gary V in December.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which, is obviously a big deal to me.
It's a big deal to me. We were basically, he got a message from a friend of his that Gary was, talking at this thing and whatever. And we actually just, we went and we're walking around the courtyard where he supposedly was. And it turns out he's at Vintage Frames, Corey Shapiro's shop in Miami. They're opening up their store. Okay.
And he's releasing his V-Friends glasses that day. And I looked through the window and I see him staring right at me. I go, I found him because we couldn't find him. So we went, so there's a line of people wrapped around the building.
Right.
And there's a bouncer the size of Dwayne Johnson.
Nice.
At the front door. And Chris literally makes a beeline for the door and walks right past the bouncer. And I'm just holding my phone and my camera trying to record him. And they just let us walk right in. And Gary's PR team just like, hey, we need you up here at the front. And we were up front row within a second, and I'm sitting there staring at Gary V 4 feet away. And I'm like, this is the weirdest moment of my life, but it's
the coolest.
It's the coolest moment. I got to talk to him for a little bit, got to shake his hand, take selfies, got a pair of glasses, got it autographed, met Corey Shapiro, the owner of Vintage Frames. Really cool cat, really nice guy. And it just, those are the kind of doors, those are the kind of weird moments that I've learned to trust his process.
Right.
And I did that this week with Swim Week. I didn't question anything. We went front row. We sat front row. He said, you're sitting right here. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
That's got to be an amazing feeling, especially seeing your mentor over in the pit.
Oh, man. That was so funny.
Hello from up here.
Yeah. I went over and I said, hi. I took a picture of Danny. I actually posted on my page black and white photos. Probably one of the best black and white photos I've ever taken.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Nice lighting and everything.
I didn't think you shot it. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Touche. But it was really cool because I went over and I talked to him and, Danny and I had met once for a one-on-one session 4 years ago. But we've been talking to each other ever since.
Right.
Anytime I have a question or anything, he has answers, teaches me how to edit, all kinds of things. Business mindset, how to approach people, how to write a contract out, anything I have a question that's something new to me.
Right. That he's obviously done before.
Yeah, and he's always been really cool to me, but I didn't think for the life of me that he'd recognize me.
Really?
Because we met 4 years ago.
Yeah,
once
but
in a hotel during a photo shoot, and
yeah, but you stuck out, and this is why I know, because we talked about this on one of the other, I think it might have been the first podcast we did, might have been the second, I don't remember, but the fact you spent a lot more time with him than anybody else, from what you told me.
Yeah, I mean, it was supposed to be like a 2-hour thing, and it ended up being 5 hours, so it was memorable. But
and then you go hang out with him afterwards.
Yeah, and and there's a lot of, but there's still that you see so many people,
right?
And as I get older, it gets tougher for me. You and I both talked about this before. That,
sure.
As we get older, you start forgetting names.
Yeah.
And you feel terrible about it, but we try to do so much these days with multitasking that it just sometimes it gets bogged down. But so I wasn't expecting him to recognize me. Plus, I was dressed a little bit different. The first night I was dressed very corporate because I was going to a runway show, and so I wanted to dress nice shoes, slacks, polo and everything. And Chris says to me, he goes, I don't know if you're my photographer or my attorney. And so
could be both.
At that moment, I realized I need a look. I need something that separates my photography life from my corporate life, because they do not blend.
Right.
They are two completely different worlds, and they need to stay that way.
What would you say your look is?
Now it's going to be white shoes, perfectly nice groomed white shoes, and all black everything else. Occasionally a white hat to go with the white shoes, but basically anytime I go on a shoot, that's going to be the look, because I need, in this day and age, it's kind of funny, you and I have gone to some networking events recently.
For sure.
And I like to do, annoyingly so, I like to do social experiments. Because I'm just curious as to people's reactions to things. It's something that drives my daughter and my wife crazy, because I'm always constantly wanting to know people's reactions.
Okay.
And how they react to different circumstances or different situations. And so,
right.
I went as corporate
Russell
to the networking event, and even some of the people I've worked with in the past didn't necessarily recognize me, because they're not used to seeing me look like that.
Right.
Like an old guy who just, works in a bank. And so,
I mean, I recognized you. You looked to me, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not one of them. I've been around you a lot longer.
Yeah. And so, it was kind of an interesting social experiment to just kind of be the observer, the nerdy camera guy. I was walking around, a lot of the photographers there, I didn't bring my best stuff, but I did bring the monster lens just to make sure the credibility was there.
People know you're the photographer.
Right. Because and any good photographer can shoot with anything. I don't care what it is. If you know what you're doing, you can you can take the picture. But it's like sometimes your gear is like your VIP bracelet.
Yeah.
It gets you places you don't necessarily realize that you have to go. And so, I tried to not I didn't want to go into that situation and be like, I'm better than anybody. That is never me. I'm always in competition with myself. I am not in competition with anybody else. It's me against me. The only person that's going to beat me is me.
That's what I've been preaching.
And, that's something that I've taken with me, to those networking events. And then also a lot of things that, Chris, I refer to him as Chris, but, a lot of things he's taught me is about, being number one where he is, and his ability to own his market
Mm-hmm.
and own the share
Right.
of his content. It's lonely up there.
How long has he been doing what he's doing?
Like a decade now.
Okay.
Since he was like 20, he manifested that thing, and I think he's been, I don't even know how old he is specifically, but I know that he's been doing this for a long time, and
Yeah.
it's basically like what they say. Manifestation is you believing it already has happened,
Mm-hmm.
and he lives it every day to the fullest.
Yeah.
And it's inspiring to see somebody follow their passion with a no holds barred mentality. We have life. We have limitations. We have chosen things in our life
Right.
that delay us, that
Mhm.
provide us with, we have different things to wait on. It's not a bad thing. They're just different ways of doing things. He has, I have a child. I have college. I have a wife. I have homes and mortgages and bills and, life expenses and all kinds of stuff that create delays in what I ultimately want to do.
Right.
But it's something that it's nice to see, and I think something that the younger generation needs to remember is that if you want to be the best, if you want to be number one,
You gotta bust your ass.
you are going to work harder than you've ever worked in your life, and you don't get a vacation. There isn't a vacation. If you spend a day or two off, somebody has already passed you.
Yep.
Somebody has already created a better reel. Somebody has already filmed something amazing. Nobody is shooting anything different. I don't know if you've noticed the trend. Everybody's shooting the same thing. It's like a soccer game with 8-year-old children. They're all running around chasing the same ball.
Yeah.
And they're taking the same picture of the same ball. It's like, so nobody is going to differentiate themselves with the picture.
Right.
It's going to get differentiated by how you present that picture and how you build your brand.
Mm-hmm.
So that people, I never wanted my name out there. I wanted to be Soscenic Photography. I know now with IG and with, being verified and everything that they require for safety and all that stuff, that you have to have your identity out there and stuff like that. So that's fine. But it's
Not a big deal.
It's not the end of the world there. It has brought a little bit more attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
To certain people I didn't really want that world really knowing all that much of what I'm doing. But
Such as?
I've tried to separate corporate and personal life a lot. But at some point I knew it was going to.
At some point they're going to intermingle. I never, my day job, I never wanted them to know that I, was a photographer and I had podcasts, because I could say something on a podcast that could get me fired, and from the old podcast that I was on, I was saying a lot of things. But yeah, but it just, at some point,
I can neither confirm nor deny the existence of any material that was released in that podcast.
Yeah. It was rough. But yeah, eventually they're going to collide. That somebody's going to find it. I have people finding my Instagram that I never told them about it. They just found it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how does that happen? But yeah, but I think that what you're doing, if you don't mind me saying, is you're not doing anything that's out of line. It's, that I don't think that you're going to be out of line as far as like the corporate guidelines and things like that. So I think that I don't know the people you work for or work with, but I would imagine that they would be applauding you. And you
actually has a, bring your whole self to work kind of mantra.
Right.
And so, I have a lot of friends, after working for a company for 30 years, you have people that you know. And they know what you do, and they're, I just don't, if somebody comes to me at work and is like, oh, would love to have you do like a family portrait, I'm not intermixing those things, because that stuff just doesn't, it doesn't mix well. It's not something that it's not really my gig. Now, If you hire a media company that I happen to work for, and I end up showing up at an event and I do event photography, then that's different.
Right.
But if I'm, if just a standard, whatever, and I stay away from weddings as much as I can. I will do them for certain particular friends, and I'll do it. And
I saw the Google Drive. It's excellent.
And I just signed one wedding for next year. And it'll probably be the only one that I do all of next year. Because it's not something that, it's not that I can't do it. I could do it in my sleep. Weddings are not, don't give me that weddings are hard to shoot. They're not hard to shoot. You have to be attentive to detail. You have to understand your shot list. You have to understand what needs to be shot, who needs to be shot, when we need to be there, all of those timelines. You need to understand those timelines. The most difficult part of a wedding process is the editing portion of it.
Yep.
And getting every photo. If the bride and groom want every photo to look exactly the same as if they were taken exactly the same, that's where my challenge is, because my artistic brain, I'm switching settings on my camera.
Yeah.
Unless I'm using flash,
right?
Which my settings are locked and I'm just shooting. As long as the flash is going off, everything's fine. But if I'm shooting artistically or like a documentary style, my settings are changing constantly.
Oh, yeah.
The light changes, everything changes. The exposure changes. Sometimes I'm underexposing intentionally.
Right.
Sometimes I'm blowing it out for whatever reason. It's hard to make all of those look the same, even with a preset. It's almost impossible to do it. And so, you run that risk of, I don't want people to be unhappy with the work. It's not really why I'm doing it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I'm doing this work because I like taking photos.
Right.
I have a camera in my hand. It's a happy place for me. I've really kind of taken this Instagram thing and social media thing, that bull by the horns, and I'm trying to do a lot of different things. I'm trying to really, there's not a lot of people that, even using CapCut and all the templates and everything, there's not a lot of people that quite understand music, like people that have grown up in music. My brothers are musicians and everything. And so timing is a big deal to me. I don't like when something's off. Or if it doesn't hit, or it doesn't reverberate the right way, or it doesn't reset the right way, or the picture doesn't change at the right beat or the right word or whatever. And so music to me was my life growing up. I mean, it was my story. I mean, even when I was taking a chance to figure out if I was going to be a photographer, the very first Logic album, Under Pressure, was playing in my AirPods as I was walking to the workshop.
Under Pressure.
Yeah. Rapper named Logic.
Okay. I mean, I know another song named Under Pressure.
Yeah, no. The album is called Under Pressure, and it's I think it came out in 2014, and it basically, it's all about manifestation and creating something that you want,
right?
But you have 9 million things going against you, and it's just a navigation of dodging all of that to get to where you want to be. And the sacrifices that go with it. And I'm a huge Logic fan. I have been since day one. His whole entire, 8 albums are, you can put them on random and they all sound like they're on the same album.
Okay.
Because he constantly is telling a story. It's constant
music. And he's got a sound.
And he's got a sound, and his storytelling is fantastic. And it really has become the soundtrack of mine and my daughter's life, actually. Just kind of helps motivate. It keeps us going right there. And, my daughter got the opportunity 3 weeks ago to work the pit at Logic at Daly's Place in Jacksonville. And I thank 904 Happy Hour for allowing us the opportunity to do it. They offered it to me, and I said, I think you want the best photographer in Soscenic photography to do it. And I said, and that's my daughter.
That's very sweet.
And
she's good, man, for sure.
Watching her, I bought tickets to the show because I knew as a press photographer, they let you in for 3 songs and they kick you out.
Right.
So I bought tickets for the show so that her and I could stay.
Okay.
And so I I stood like section 1 or whatever, just off to the side, and just watching her walk into the pit, knowing that she's been listening to Logic since she was in like 7th grade.
Yeah.
And it got her through a lot of bullying and a lot of other things that were going on in high school. You know, people that have skills, exceptional skills and talents are often misunderstood and are often get a lot of hate. Adults can handle a little better than kids can sometimes. And
some.
Yeah.
Not all.
Not all. I don't either, as you know. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you know, it's seeing her walk down there and go front row and shoot and be all business.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
And like, she was all business.
You don't have time to be starstruck.
But she knows every word to every song.
Yeah.
She was wearing her Logic t-shirt when she walked down there along with her and everything. And so she's down there shooting and everything, and she's rapping to every lyric.
That's awesome.
And he makes eye contact with her and gives her a nod of, all right, I see you rapping every single word, even though you're the press photographer down there.
Right.
That was like the crowning moment for her, that acknowledgement that I see that you are somebody who's there for a job, but you also respect the art form and respect the music and respect the artist. And it was a really cool moment for her. And then we stayed and we watched the rest of the show.
She gets some good face when
she got some really good shots. The problem is with concert photography when you're a press photographer, and this is something that I was blessed to work Oktoberfest and Tacos and Tequila Festival in the last couple of years, where I got I got basically unlimited access to the stage for the entire night,
right?
Which allows you to get a lot more things. When you go with a big artist, they have a specific rule: 3 songs. That's it.
Yeah.
Most of the artists, she got to do the opening acts and everything too, but 3 songs each, and that was it. And those 3 songs are usually not the big songs, and they don't have the set all fully lit up, and the lighting is usually terrible because they have their own photography crews and their own video crews to produce their own social media content.
Right.
Makes sense. Completely understand that. And so I knew when he played the 3 songs that he was playing, they were his most recent EP that he had out and everything. And, you know, I knew that it wasn't going to be as clear and as great, but boy, that kid has taught me more about low light photography than any single mentor I've had in photography my entire life.
Wow.
That girl will shoot at a football game or a lacrosse game or whatever, and the shots she get, banging. Like, unbelievable, the shots that she gets.
And she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's not, like, just guessing.
And she's not guessing. And she shot, it was a terribly lit game. Like a year ago, it was her senior year of football at BT, and she was shooting a game, and the lighting was terrible. I think we were at a rival stadium. I think we may have been at like St. Augustine or something.
Okay.
And the lighting was awful. And I was like, oof, these are going to be rough tonight. These aren't going to come out all that great.
I've
We're going to have to
seen
do a
some
lot
of
of
her
editing.
sports shots, and they look good.
She popped that ISO up to 3,200.
Woo, doggy.
And on her R6, and had her set at 1/1000th on the shutter speed.
Yeah.
And fired away. And I was like, I looked at her camera because I was shooting this on, and I came over just wanted to see what she was doing, and her shots were looking better than mine. I'm like, what the world are you doing? And she's like, oh, I bumped it up to 3,200 ISO. And I'm like, what? Wait, why? I'm like, that's way too much. There's gonna be grain. It's gonna look terrible.
Can't be. Don't fear the grain.
And she's like, I've been doing it for the last 3 games.
Right.
And you've loved all my content that I've shot. And I'm like, the stuff you posted last week was 3,200 ISO. Are you kidding me?
I want to see the metadata on that, please.
And so I went back and looked at the information, and lo and behold.
Yeah.
And, you know, with the new denoise button that's on Lightroom.
Does she use that?
She uses it now. She didn't have to before.
Yeah.
She just kind of messed with things and edited enough to get it to where she wanted it. And she was able to get, you know, the R6 is a great low light camera. It's
sure.
20 megapixels. It still has the 1DX sensor in it.
And a lot of those photos, I'll say, because I look at everything that I see. You know, I follow her. When she posts things, I do look at it. But 3,200, it does. I mean, they're super sharp, tack sharp, crisp. She's frozen the motion.
Yep.
You know, she knows that's good. I mean, because if you're in a low light situation like that,
Yeah.
obviously you can't have a low shutter speed and, you know, a super. Let's bring the ISO down to like 100, but we'll bring the shutter speed down to like 130. You're gonna get shit photos.
Yep.
You know.
She is going to be she's going off to college here in a few weeks, and I had her put together a media kit for all the work that she's done over the last 2 years. And I said, hey, why don't you find out who the athletics department is, find out the communications team, the TV, the YouTube channels, everything for the college that you're going to. I said, you've run a YouTube channel for a year. You've done 31 consecutive episodes every week. You did all this kind of stuff. I said, you have a great media kit.
Right.
Reach out to somebody and say, hey, I'm willing to eat shit for the next year. I need the access. I'm going to show you. Give me the access and I'll show you what I can do. And she's like, well, she was kind of struggling a little bit with who to reach out to. And I said, reach out to people that are in your industry that you look up to.
Right.
So she started reaching out to college photographers all across the country. There's a particular college photographer for Ohio State. For the life of me, I'm blanking on her name right now. There's my age kicking in again. But she reached out to her, and she gave her a whole bunch of advice. Doesn't even know who she is.
Right.
And gave her a bunch of advice and gave her some confidence to say, hey, you can do this. You have the talent. I happen to know an alumni from her high school is actually a manager of photography for an NFL football team.
Okay.
And so we've been working that relationship and trying to see if we can, that's her ultimate goal. She wants to be on Sunday. She wants to be on the sidelines, whether it's reporting or photographing. That's what she wants to do. And, I don't know what ultimately her goal is going to look like after college is over, and I don't really care. I just want her to do whatever that she wants to do. And I know that when she gets a camera in her hand, she's freaking lethal. And I'm glad that I've been able to do all of this to kind of give her an opportunity that maybe like I didn't have. Like I grew up in corporate America. I grew up in corporate America. So I saw my father get access to things that were not necessarily everyday stuff. Like I got to fly with the Denver Broncos on their plane to a game in Seattle when I was a little kid.
Right.
And those kind of things that, corporate perks and that kind of silliness and everything. But it was always kind of cool to get those 1 or 2 moments in your life where you got something and gave you a chance to shine in front of a different audience. And so I've been constantly trying to get her. And I'm happy to report that the school reached back out to her literally the day after she emailed them. And she had an interview and she's already being background checked and she's going to be doing YouTube and all kinds of stuff. So
nice.
She'll be on the field shooting college football and baseball and soccer and volleyball and you name it.
That's fantastic.
That to me, I can't wait to see what she ends up doing.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about, and I think I was having a conversation with, might have been the Josie yesterday, but it might have just been with someone else. I can't recall off the top of my head, but it's really interesting to me what I love. Like you talked about the networking event that we've been going to and things like that. It's all these younger folks out there.
Yeah.
And your daughter, I think that it's fantastic that they get into this field now.
Yeah.
And get started now, get their foot in the door, start meeting people like yourself to really get out there, and it gives them a doorway they may not have ever had.
Right.
For myself, I mean, I kick myself in the ass every single day that I didn't stick with photography, or music or the things that I love doing.
Right.
And that's my one piece of advice to all the young folks is just, if it's something you're passionate about, stick with it. I don't care if it's YouTube, don't care if it's photography, videography, whatever. Just stick with it,
Yeah, don't give up because it's too easy to give up.
Right.
You see that with marriage. You see that with all kinds of things. This day and age, everything is just easier to quit.
Super easy.
And I think that if there's anything Gen X can teach the new generations is we're the last generation before the internet,
right,
and after the internet rolled out. So we have both experiences, before and after. We see when you do something on the internet, when you press a button on your cell phone and it does 19 different things, well, guess what? We used to have to do those 19 things manually, and we know how to do that behind the scenes.
Yep.
Gen X knows how to do that. You can tell a robot to dig a hole. You do not know what it's like to dig a hole.
Yeah.
Gen X knows what it's like to dig a hole. If we have to, have to keep ourselves busy when we were kids growing up. You know, your parents told you to get out and don't come home until the street light comes on. If you're bored, dig a freaking hole in the backyard. Just do something. But, you know, we did things.
Right.
Whereas the up-and-coming generations don't have to do those things. And I don't hold that against them because they don't have to do it because we created things that basically made it easy for them. But they know how to master their world, a world that we view as foreign. They're mastering it every day. And the content creators, they're killing it. The transitions, the reels, I mean, if I had told you I was going to be doing 3 reels a day and throwing like 100 images and slow-mo video and all this stuff onto, I would have told you you're out of your freaking mind. I just want to be a photographer and take pictures of the sunsets and, you know, occasionally of models. And that's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to create art. I mean, I would have told you were crazy, but these kids have forced us to step our game up because the only people that get noticed are the ones who are working. You don't get noticed if you sit around and just rest on your laurels and say, oh, I have a Canon R5 or I have a Sony A1 or whatever, and I have the best camera ever and my images are great. And look at my black and white photo.
Nobody cares.
Gorgeous black and white photo. It's perfect. It's perfectly exposed. It's perfectly lit. This is a great image. 2 likes. Guaranteed, because nobody gives a shit. At the end of the day, they want experiences. This generation, these younger generations, they want experiences. Yeah. It's funny. It's Janet Jackson all over again. What have you done for me lately? You know.
Was that Janet Jackson?
Yeah.
What have you done for me lately?
So, but you know, it was it's something that I think is inspiring and keeps me young. Something my mother always taught me. My mother would listen to the music I was listening to growing up, and I was listening to some hardcore shit. I was listening to like NWA and Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and gangster rap left and right. And that's what I was growing up on.
We came from different sides of the road.
But I also came on. My brothers were rock musicians, so I grew up with Rush and Led Zeppelin, and so I'm all over the place.
Right.
And so, but my music. When I was growing up, I was in high school in Chicago, middle school, high school, Chicago early on, and then I moved to Denver. And it was like that core, hardcore gangster rap, you know, the riots and everything was going on in the late 80s and the early 90s and Tupac and all this stuff. And my mother made a point to sit down and listen to it and not just judge based off, oh, they're using bad words too much or this, that, and the other. My mom listened to it, and to this day, my mom is still an Eminem fan, which is really kind of funny to think about. But you know, she kind of related to me and she said, "You're keeping me young."
Oh, okay.
So by her listening to the music of the day and by her paying attention to what's relevant and trying to stay on top of things, does that make older people get annoying? Sure, because they try to understand too much, and maybe they can't. They try to put the old ways and the new ways together, and they think they mean the same things when they don't. But that's okay. Yeah. I like the effort.
Right.
And it's one thing that I'm taking with me, passing on to my daughter, is that I want her energy because it keeps me young. Right. It keeps me going for it. It keeps me wanting to crush it out. So, I mean, I love the content creation. I know that we always seem to get off on tangents and stuff like that, and that's my fault.
No, you're good. Like I said, it makes it easy for me. I can sit here and sip my coffee and hit my vape and, you know, just chill.
You know, and it's, you know, it's one of the things that meeting people and getting doors opened. One of the media companies I first started working with, dealing with very wealthy clients.
Right.
Lot of cars, a lot of Bentleys. That most recent reel I posted, that me driving in that car, that's a $400,000 Bentley that I'm driving.
Nice.
It's not mine. I'm not trying to perpetrate that was mine. It's an experience that I had. I got the opportunity to photograph one of these, and I had to move it to a different location.
You don't want to pull a bow wow.
Right. And, and it's seeing those opportunities is a great thing. It's so much fun to actually get the things that you never thought you could do.
Right, right.
Just from being who you are. But, I have a talent. I have a skill set. I am starting to strangely pivot off of photos to more BTS, slow-mo kind of vibe, and building reels. You'll probably see more reels than posts on my page now.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that because I was actually, when I was looking for your photo.
Although I did throw some photos recently. But
I was like, let me try to get inside Russell's brain. I was like, maybe he doesn't want anybody stealing his photos, so he just uses reels, so that way nobody can really plagiarize his work.
Well, and I think that's certainly that wasn't the intent, but that actually is a benefit that I didn't even think about.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that I can, if I post one photo or two photos or whatever, you're not going to get any engagement. They're going to look at a photo and they're going to be like, oh, that's great. The person I took it of is going to appreciate it.
Right.
They're going to love it. They're going to share it. Their friends are going to like it. Oh, you're so great. You look beautiful. This, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But it's not going to really move any kind of needle.
It's not about the photographer at that point.
But if I slam you with 100 images, which that latest reel that I posted of that shows my first 6 months before Miami Swim Week was 100 video clips.
Right.
And it's just...
You jammed them in there.
Jammed them in there and threw it out with that track. And I'm going to use the same track on the Swim Week one, which is part 2 of that video. And I'm looking for interested people for part 3, for the rest of the year. But, I love just throwing stuff out there that looks good. It sounds good. It moves to music. It brings whatever vibe. I don't care. I got techno music on there. I got rap music on there. I will throw some old school Incubus rock song, a Limp Bizkit song that just, whenever I'm feeling a vibe and I just want a little bit of anger, Eat You Alive by Limp Bizkit is fantastic. It's a perfect song for trying to, get certain vibes out there. And I like what I'm doing. I like the stuff that I'm doing with Lavish. I think that that's kind of where I would love to be.
Yeah.
I would love to be following people around, models, celebrities. If you need a photographer that showcases your stuff and you don't want to have to sit there and deal with your phone all day long and trying to get your moments and your selfies and all that stuff, hire me. I will be there 100% dedicated to you unless you tell me I can shoot something else. I didn't shoot a single model or a single video of another model without Lavish's permission.
Really?
Because I was there for him. He hired me. Yeah. To be there to take photos of him.
So he did hire you.
Yeah. Okay. And it's, and the access that I got, and the friendships that I've received from it and the connections. I mean, I can't tell you, this last week and a half, I feel bad if anybody's watching this that I've worked with over the last couple of weeks. I feel terrible that I haven't gotten as much work to you as I should have. But it has been nonstop in my DMs since Miami. Like every model that's walked in every show, even if I wasn't there, was like, "Oh, I heard you were on front row, and do you have any video or have any photos of it?" I'm like, "Holy cow!" I'm like, it's a cool experience, but it's also something you have
nerve-wracking.
It's nerve-wracking, but you also have to be careful. You don't want to get taken advantage of.
You don't want to get taken advantage of, and you also
don't
want to be upsetting people that might be potential clients in the future.
I met somebody who's like 1 million followers.
Yeah.
Person says they want to work with me. I absolutely want to work with you.
Yeah. You're right on the front row. They're like, he must be something hot. So.
And you know what? There's that manifestation thing again.
Yeah. Not to toot my own horn. And it's not like swim week, but I'm pretty excited about tomorrow morning. I'm going down to the television station where they do the news or whatever.
Nice.
It's is it Jax now?
Action Jacks or First?
I can't remember what channel it's like one of those morning shows on one of the channels. The band that I've been shooting, they're playing live on the television tomorrow and whatever, about 11 o'clock.
Awesome.
And I was just like, hey, do you guys need me to come in and photograph you guys while you're playing?
Right.
And just messing around. And he was like, let me check, man. I gotta call the producer and make sure that it's cool. But yeah, we can bring people. So he got me access, and and
that's awesome.
I've never been inside a television studio, so it's going to be cool for me, and being able to shoot the behind the scenes of all that good stuff. And if I meet cool people, it's whatever. But yeah, for sure, you just never know where the access is coming from. You never know, and that goes to something that I always talk about is just putting in the work. Putting in the hours and the man hours and like I've been doing a lot for myself, and no matter whether I'm tired or I do a lot of stuff like you on the clock. Shh, don't tell my boss that.
I don't do anything ever.
No, he doesn't. He does not do that.
I use a scheduler,
right?
AKA my daughter.
Yeah. No, I mean, but I'll make reels and posts and things like that while I'm on my lunch break or whatever. Sure. But and it's just nonstop. I got up at 2 o'clock today. I worked, and then I came home and did a lot of things in here and thought I had everything ironed out, but apparently
obviously not.
Obviously, yeah, I was incorrect. But it's about like you said, it's just about the work ethic and doing the damn work. And whether you feel like people are watching or not,
it's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant.
Eventually, they will show up,
right?
Because you will provide a value that they need,
right? And it's going to open a door to a place that you may never have otherwise had an opportunity to go through.
So. A lot of the football photographers in town and kind of had that, concerts, a favorite band or whatever. You reach out to a band or whatever, and
right,
you get invited to go on tour. I know there's a lot of local photographers that have done things that basically have turned concert photography into then now working for like Getty and NFL and
yeah.
It's the doors that get open that you would never have access to people you wouldn't have access to. Or,
right.
When I was down in Miami, one of the owners of one of the jewelry companies that he's branding out, that he's working on, he came up to me on the side, and he doesn't know me from anybody. And he's like, "Hey, I just got to tell you, we took those shots last night, and you already had them to me this morning, and they're amazing."
Yeah.
He goes, in this industry, there's a lot of people that can do it fast and crappy. There's a lot of people that can do it slow and good. There's not a lot of people that can do it fast and good.
Right.
And he said, your work was impeccable. Whether I felt like the shot was good or not is irrelevant. The perception to that person, to that brand, and to anybody in that person's circle is that if they need content made, they know who to call.
Yeah.
They're going to call me.
Mm-hmm.
And by all means, I'm going to be there. And that's a really cool place to be. And it's something that if you want to be successful in this game,
mm-hmm.
you better start believing that shit.
100%. And you're setting the bar really high for yourself. So you're going to have to keep stepping it up every single time.
Oh, stop it. You're killing me. I'm already like, I had a couple of reels from Swim Week that I really loved. I loved the transitions. I loved a couple of the things were so good. The Good Life one was like, that one to me almost brings tears to my eyes every time I see it,
mm-hmm.
because it was just, I threw it together that night on the fly at a stoplight, and it just worked.
Right.
And I hit go, and then it took off, and it got like 1,500 views. And I know that that's not a lot of views to like viral people.
Right.
But when you're used to 300, 400, 500 views, and then something goes 1,500 in an hour,
yeah,
that's a big deal.
Sure.
And that one resonated.
Get that nice serotonin boost.
And you just start feeling good about the work, but then you start feeling that pressure, the pressure to actually keep doing it.
Right.
and you know that not every single one's going to hit. You know that not every song is going to be right for the moment. I got one where there's a remix with a Justin Timberlake song from a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to begin with, and then it transitions into some portrait work of Chris, which is really cool. And the beat drops and changes right when his head turns on the thing, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
But then I went back to behind the scenes photos after it, and I regret doing it because I'm like, I should have just kept going with the cool shots that I took because the beat was just that cool.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go back and redo it.
No.
Because it is what it is, and its life shelf is over. I mean, there's no point.
Right.
I've moved on to the next thing, but it's that, that competition with yourself, constantly trying to figure out what to do and what to do better and what's the next thing. And I'm trying not to do too much AI. Yeah.
What exactly are you using the AI on?
Well, I'm not using, AI, the only parts that I use AI for is, when I'm doing skin retouching and stuff like that,
Okay.
But it's.
Are you using the generative fill in Photoshop?
I've messed with it a little bit. I don't like it yet because I don't think it quite it separates too much.
Yeah.
You know how when you can separate subject from background in Lightroom? If you do it too much, it looks really, really fake.
Yeah.
I think AI is still getting to that point where it's still like the old school movies where you could tell it was shot on a green screen.
Right. Obviously, on a YouTube video, whenever people do it on the YouTube videos, you really it's not as crisp as it might be right in front of you on the computer.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be the wave of the future. I know Chris posted a reel of all of my photos and videos just like in this AI conversion, cartoony, like anime kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
I thought you did that.
I did not.
I was going to ask you how the hell you did that.
I did not do that. He did it. He did it with it was
it
just
Chat GPT?
It was like some sort of, I think it was just some sort of AI template that he used.
There's a million apps now.
He put that together, and I shared it because
what's up, Chris?
It was
different Chris.
It was that 2X?
Yeah.
Nice. What's up, man? Love your work, by the way. Keep killing it. There's so many things out there with AI that I think is going to be, we have to figure out how are we going to use it so that we can benefit from it in our quality. So what I mean by that is I want to feel like I'm doing Soscenic work.
Right.
And it feels like my work. I know my work. I know my angles and everything. If I switch it up and do AI, I want it to still feel like it's my work. And I was intrigued by Chris's reel doing that because it did feel still like my work because I recognized the work. I recognized that it was mine, and it still kind of had my feel to it.
Yeah.
But I'm weary of. I'm really weary of it bringing people that don't appreciate the actual form into the game. If you're somebody who just knows how to use Chat GPT and you go in there and say, I want a photo of this, that, and the other, and then you start selling yourself as a photographer, I have a big problem with that.
Sure.
Only because you're not a photographer. You're a computer science geek. That's
like gives a whole new meaning to computational photography, which is and all that's cell phone photography, computational photography.
That to me,
that's more like photography than
you can always tell.
And
the thing about video, I don't care what cinematic modes you have on your phone, you can always tell when something's been shot on a camera compared to something that's been shot on a phone.
For sure.
My ability to shoot 120 frames a second and craft that into a reel, and that skill set that I've done, you know what? I don't do a lot of the raw editing and all that. I have Final Cut Pro. I could waste a month and edit something unbelievable if I wanted to.
Sure.
I don't have the kind of time.
Right.
Now, if somebody wants to pay me to do it, by all means, then I'll do it. And I've learned it, and I know how to do it. But I'm slowly but surely proving to myself that I can do this my way and I don't see anybody else doing it that way.
Right. Have you tried the CapCut on your laptop or your desktop?
I have not yet, because I've kind of stayed away from CapCut a little bit because it was killing my algorithm.
Really?
For a little while there, TikTok loves CapCut. They work together. They love each other and whatever. Instagram was killing you if you had a CapCut watermark on anything.
Oh, I don't ever have the watermark on there.
I was trying to not upload to TikTok. I was trying to do it a different way.
Well, see, you don't have to upload it to TikTok. You just hit it, and then you can just delete it once it's, But
I learned that after a while, but I'm a little slow on that. But
yeah. No, I the reason I ask is because it is, for all intents and purposes, it is like having Premiere Pro. But it's like with Premiere Pro, if you don't buy you can buy all these little packs and transitions and stuff like that. The really cool effects, you have to purchase them. With CapCut, it's like already there, and it doesn't use up any memory on your computer because it's all web based.
Right.
So it makes your computer maybe heat up a little more than it normally does. But outside of that, it's really cool. I dig it. I've been using it when I'm editing certain videos.
Yep.
But those 120 frames per second videos, I don't give a shit what you edit it with or cut it to. They just look good.
Yeah. And I don't know. I have no like jujitsu background or anything, but like you have to like understand like yoga moves or something to like, because I don't shoot with a gimbal.
Right.
I have a beautiful gimbal at home.
Yeah.
That literally
I sold mine.
That literally has 2 mini helmets for the 2 football teams that I follow on them. It's hanging on there as
it's just a placeholder.
It's a placeholder for my helmets right now because I have literally no use or need to carry that thing around.
Right.
And it is an amazing piece of equipment. But I'll tell you what, I can tell when you're on a gimbal.
Mm-hmm.
I can still tell when you're on a gimbal.
Sure.
Especially if you're shooting on a Sony. But it's
forgot I had those.
My friends and I, most of my friends do shoot Sony, and I do love their content that they produce. I'm just not a big fan of the interfaces and how their cameras work. But the image stabilization today, I don't want to like. I kid you not. I was telling you this before we went on air. My swim week video footage, the video footage that you see, the slow-mo video footage is all handheld with a camera and a lens that has no image tape in it. None.
Right.
I had nothing set on it.
And it looks amazing.
And it's because I was concentrating. It gave me the worst headache of my life.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I was concentrating so much, sitting there trying to figure out what to do, trying to do different things. And I tried to do something different and got a little bit of hate for it. One of the posts where I said, have you ever taken a $5,000 selfie?
Yeah. Let's get into that.
It was so funny. It was just meant to, I was shooting with my R6 Mark II. Sure. And I have that monster 28 to 70 f2 lens on it. Mm-hmm. And I was photographing and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to take a phone selfie. And so I just flipped my camera around. And Chris and I were like joking around, just doing different things and taking shots. And you know what? One night I was just like, you know what? It's kind of like a $5,000 selfie. And I posted it out there, and it took off, and it did pretty well and everything. And the images look really cool.
I loved it.
And a lot of people, Trey G. Riley, who's now a new friend of mine, mentioned how smooth it was and how cool it was. And it was just like it was a great concept. And then all of a sudden, I get a comment.
In comes the hate.
I get a comment from a photographer out in like Amsterdam or Berlin or wherever.
Yeah.
Somebody that I had followed before, and I'd followed their work, but
Really?
they're like a boudoir photographer or whatever. And,
Yeah, he does good work. I looked at his page. We trolled you.
I looked at his page and everything and saw that I had liked some of his images and everything, and it was fine. But the comment that he made was just like way off the rails. Like, how dare you say that you would charge $5,000 for a selfie and this, that, and the other. And he was like, it's a bad look on you as a photographer to be boasting and bragging about. And I was just like, whoa. And then he goes on to comment a second time on his own comment. and went on another tangent. And I'm like, wow. And so I sent it to the other people that appreciated the work, and I sent a copy of it out, and I was like, hey, I'm like, obviously this photographer didn't get the joke.
Right.
Because that's really all it was, hey, look, I'm sitting front row at Miami Swim Week. Never thought I'd be there in the VIP section. I'm a floss a little bit. You know what?
Well, you should, sir.
I have every right to brag about the work that I earned to be there.
Right.
I didn't do anything. I didn't pay anybody to be there. I earned that. I'm not sitting front row with Chris Lavish unless he wants me there. That means I earned it. So I will never apologize for the rewards that I've gotten from the hard work that I put in.
As well, you should not, sir.
And you know what? I could have put him on blast. I could have, responded back and started a hate comment filled
but why?
whatever. And you know what? I was just like, I'm just going to let it go. I feel bad for him. I hope that he has an amazing amount of success as a boudoir photographer, and I hope that he, continues to produce great work. I hope that he can find some peace in his life, where he doesn't feel the need to hate on other photographers, because at the end of the day, we are a small group of people now. There's not a ton of photographers left. Most people have either gone on to video or gone on to, whatever, social media marketing or whatever it is that people are doing now. There's not a lot of just hardcore just photographers. And we're a small community, and damn it, we need to stay together. I mean, I was saying with 2X, with Chris, I reached out to him right after the collab event and just said, hey, love your work, keep grinding, keep killing it. We don't know each other from anything.
Right.
But I wanted him to know that, hey, I saw your work. I see the work
It's
that you're
good.
putting in. It's good work. Keep doing it. I think he got like some of the signing day stuff and got some athletes and everything.
Sure
That
did.
is freaking awesome.
He's getting that
is
access.
That is great work, and it shows a passion and a hard work. And I'm never gonna gatekeep. The thing about gatekeepers and how you shouldn't brag and you shouldn't share secrets. Are you freaking kidding me? No way. I will tell anybody everything that I've done, because gatekeeping does nothing for this community. If I hide, let's say I go to the next collab event and I don't talk to anybody, I don't network, and I go in there and I just learn what everybody's doing, and then I just bite off of everybody and I just do everything that they did, and then my account blows up.
Right.
And then I don't.
It's not going to help you
It does
at all.
nothing. It literally does nothing for you. But if I go to the next networking event and you and I are there and we talk to Chris and we talk to a few other people and we come up with like some cool shot where somebody like jumps up a certain way and it makes a great viral shot that we all get and we all use. And then somebody comes calling and says, hey, I got a commercial that I need shot. I need a good team. You know what? We know the 3 guys that can do it because we were working on something, and then we all win together.
Fully. I almost want to see the next generation succeed more than I do myself.
Yeah, I agree.
As a photographer, like I've said before, like this here is becoming more of a passion project
Sure.
for me. It's something more like where I want to focus my time. But I mean, if I can help someone, I'm gonna help them. That's the whole point of this. That's why I started it. Anything I learn, I talk about, and it's the way it should be. I mean,
yeah, I've reached out to some photographers over the past, working in the sports photography industry with my daughter and everything, trying to get some experience and trying to get some, understandings of how are we supposed to do this, because I don't like doing things the wrong way. I want to do them the right way. I want to respect the elders. I want to respect the people that are in power. I want to respect the people that are creating and are successful every single day. And I want to learn what it is that they're doing. That's something Gary Vee teaches us all the time, is that find the people you look up to and figure out what it is the fuck that they did.
Yeah.
And learn from that. You don't have to do the same things that they did, but take what they did, make it your own, and learn from it. And I've reached out to some people, and some people have been amazing. Some people have reached out to my daughter. Some people have reached out to me. We've gotten an opportunity. We were on the field at my daughter's high school, and a couple of big photographers with Getty and with the NFL team happened to be on the sideline because they were in town.
Right.
And my daughter had just gotten out of a car accident, a bad car accident, like the week before or 2 weeks before, so she couldn't shoot that night. So I was shooting for her, and I saw them down there with their R3 and their 400 2.8, huge lens, just a gigantic lens. And I went over and I talked to them for a minute, and both of them were like, hey, absolutely. If you want to take a look at it. And they brought my daughter over and she got to take a look through what a 400 2.8 looks like on the sidelines. And it that launched it for her.
Right.
She already knew what she could do. But when she saw it in a 400 millimeter lens, what it could be, it immediately ignited the goal. The only reason that happened is because those two gentlemen acted like gentlemen.
Right.
And treated my daughter and me with respect and gave us a little insight as to what it's like.
And now she's got that experience
and who knows, she may work for one of them one day. You never know. That may be the moment in her life that she looks back on and says, this is what launched my career.
Right.
And it's because of people's humility. It's because of people wanting to help. You get nothing if you just keep everything for yourself. I understand rich people like to do that.
Yeah.
I get it.
Scrooge McDuck.
You get your own money and you want to count every penny last of it and you don't want to give a single dime of it away. I get it. I don't knock anybody for doing it.
I get it, but I don't get it.
But when it comes to photography and skill sets and skills and learning, you got it.
Right.
I mean, I want to see Chris do great things.
Yeah.
I want to see the local photographers here that are trying really hard every single day. I want to see them get huge.
Yeah.
I want to see this market just blow up. I want to see Jen, take her podcast to another level. And then all of a sudden you got millions of people watching every single day. We want to see success in that generation. Why? Because we were there when it wasn't successful.
Right.
And we didn't judge. We didn't look at, when I had 300 followers on my Soscenic page, and this girl Tiffany reached out and said, I want to shoot with you because I really love your sunset work. That launched my career.
Yeah.
I had 300 followers. I was like some old guy with a camera.
Yeah.
But she took a chance.
Yeah.
And those are the moments. Those are the opportunities. And anytime you get an opportunity to excel or to shoot, you're never going to get good at photography unless you shoot.
That's true.
There ain't no book. There's no YouTube video. There's no nothing.
And I don't care what you shoot. Go
just do it
in your house, out in the front yard, backyard. You don't have to have a location. Is what
I had that conversation with my daughter.
Yeah, I mean, and most people think that I gotta go to the beach. I gotta go here.
Yeah.
No, man, you got stuff to shoot around your house. I shoot that crap all the time. I don't care if I got 1 million followers, which I don't, but I don't care. If I feel like
he's lying, he does.
No, I don't. I haven't even broke 1,500 yet, but it's fine. I don't care about followers, but I do. Anyways, I'll shoot an avocado sitting on my countertop. I don't care if I see something there. I'm going to shoot it. If you have an idea or you see another, this is my favorite thing. It was an exercise I did when I was getting back into digital photography, because I've talked about it before. When I started out, everything was film. There was no digital. Because that's how old I am.
I was mixing chemicals with you.
Yeah. But, you see another photographer's photos on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, whatever, and you like that style, go try and emulate it. Just try to see if you can make something similar. And then once you do, and you go, wow, okay, that's how he did it or she did it. That's how they did it. And now you have put that in your little Batman belt. It's a callback because he's Batman.
No, Bruce Wayne.
Oh, well, who the hell do you think Batman is?
Bruce Wayne is a persona all on its own. Thank you, Trey, for that one.
Yeah. Well, it's sticking now. So
yeah, it is. And I was called recently the Bruce Wayne of photography.
Yeah.
I have no idea why, but I'll take it. And I already told Trey that I'm going to run with it. And, it's something that'll stick. But It's community. This is such a cool place to be.
It is.
I know a lot of people don't understand it. And I know a lot of, regular Joes and Janes don't really get the artistic community.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I love every last little minute of it. I mean, walking around Miami was like, and being welcomed into that family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wasn't just the creepy photographer that was following the celebrity. They were talking to me, and I was at dinner. I was at the events. I was at this. I was at that, and it was just it was a really cool experience. Now, I need to do a better job of my elevator speech, my short elevator speech.
Okay.
Something that every photographer, I think, should perfect is imagine yourself getting into an elevator with the CEO of Disney or the CEO of ESPN or which I think is Disney now anyway. But if you look at it that way, or like
Disney owns everything.
Steven Spielberg or a big actor, Leonardo DiCaprio, it doesn't matter. You're in an elevator with somebody that has an immense amount of reach.
Right.
And they look at you and they go, so what do you do? Go. And you have to tell them what you do and make an impact on them so that they remember you by the time they hit their floor.
That's your one okay, that's what you mean by elevator speech.
That's your elevator speech.
Gotcha.
I
would call that my Tinder speech.
Yep. That's a whole different conversation for a different
really
podcast.
is, but you've only got one shot to impress. After that, it's just like
okay, I'm
left.
But it's something that I think I need to really work on. Being able to showcase the value, and it will come to me. I think that the on-the-fly event photography thing, I think, is going to stick with me for a while.
Yeah.
I'm really hopeful that Chris comes calling again. He's an amazing person to work with. He is nonstop, all about the show. The stage lights are never off.
Right.
And that's something that from the corporate world I used to teach about mentoring all the time, is that, you have to understand the stage lights are always on. You don't get a moment where the lights aren't on. They're always on. Someone's always listening.
Yeah.
And in the photography world, Instagram is our stage lights. It's always on. If you don't show up for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, the light's going out.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's pretty much the one place that we have to showcase our work.
Yeah, and it's going to be that way. It's really going to be that way. I know everything's trying. I'm on Threads.
I've given up on Threads.
You know what? I got over 1,000 followers in like 3 days. So
I got about 50.
I was pretty excited about the reach, and I think it was the timing. I was in Miami when it hit.
Probably, yeah.
And I think
content,
that helped because I had some content to throw out there right away that was, kind of in that, hey, let's do the next big thing kind of.
Well, and you were tagging the right people and all those good things. I want to get, like you were talking about, like the artistic scene.
Hit me, give me something tough.
In Jacksonville. No, I just like, it made me think, and I wanted to double back to this, but like, do you think that the art community, like music, photography, illustration, painting, all those type of art, do you think it's making a bigger splash? Like, do you think it's in Jacksonville? Do you think that we're growing as far as the art realm?
I think that it is on the precipice of something. It's either going to be right now. It's a new car, and it's heading for a bend in the road. And you're either going to see that car grip the road and take off, or you're going to see it drive right off a cliff. And unfortunately, when something is growing and is big, you have those two opportunities. It's the same in you get a brand new job. I can give you keys to a brand new car. If you drive it off the cliff, that's on you. That is not on me. This community is responsible 100% for the success or failure of what happens in Jacksonville.
Right.
The guys over at Collab are doing a fantastic thing of really consistently bringing people together. You can't do this once every 6 months.
They're like infecting Jacksonville.
Right. And that's a great thing. You can't do this once every 6 months. I worked with a lot of different people that tried to do events and tried to do, let's host the meetups and the meet and greets and the this and the that. If you don't have consistency, it's not going to work.
Right.
You're only as good as the people that show up. You're only as good as the people that want to make the art. If you show up to Collab and there were 3 people there and it was me, you, and the owners, it's not going to work.
It will not work.
It just won't. But if you keep coming up, I know this weekend I'll give them a little cheap plug.
Bump.
They got a Barbie themed networking event this weekend. I believe it's Saturday.
Yeah, I thought they had a thing tonight, and I was sadly mistaken. Russell had put on his pink thong for the Barbie event, and when he realized that I was an idiot, he changed into his black thong. So
no twerking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think that Collab is trying. I wish them nothing but success, and I will go to as many events as I can. I'm very busy.
Sure.
I live 3 lives basically. It's corporate, it's photographer, it's editor, 4 lives, parent, 5 lives, husband.
Yeah.
You just keep going. But I'm extremely busy, but I also understand the importance of giving back to the community and to the people that are willing to learn.
Right.
I don't know everything about photography. You know a ton more about photography than I will
Not
ever
really.
know. But I know.
I thank you for saying that, but it's probably not true.
But I know, to me, what looks good and what looks like effort's being put into it.
Right.
And when you can recognize effort, you can teach things. We often talk about what are the basics in life to be successful. Show up, be on time, do the best you can, and go home. And people are always like, well, there's got to be more to it than that. If you can't do those 4 things, I can't do anything for you.
Yeah.
I can't teach you anything if you can't do the basics and want to do it.
You can't get to the reward without going through the process. You can't get to the finish line without going through the mud.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you saw something I posted a couple weeks ago, or it might have been last week, but it's a guy named Cameron Haynes, and he's a bow hunter, and I not everybody's into that. Not everybody agrees with hunting or whatever, but the dude gets up every day at like 2 a.m. and runs like 20 miles first thing in the morning. And then to me, he's been really inspirational. And his saying is, nobody cares, try harder.
Right.
Because honestly, at the end of the day, you're going to go home, and all the people that you hung out with, worked with, whatever, they're going to do their thing, and they're going to forget all about you. And they're not going to think about, is so-and-so, are they succeeding? Is this person going to succeed? They don't think like that. Now, guys like you and me, we probably do a little bit more than most, but that's just who we are, because we both
whatever
came from,
circumstance we've had leading up to getting back into the art world.
Well, we both come from a leadership background.
Right.
So we want to help elevate people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was just something that popped in my head while you were talking as well. And it was funny because I mentioned, he ain't no Gary V, but he's inspirational to me. And not that Gary V's not inspirational to me. I love Gary V. I do. I think he's got his shit on lock.
A message is always positive.
Very consistent as well.
And it's just, look, I want you to win. If you win, I win.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. If I tell you, hey, I can't do this gig, I know you can do it. I know the gear that you have because we have the same cameras. Do this, 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 and this, and this, and it will work out for you.
Right.
And you go and you kill it and knock it out the park and become the next great big thing.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Because you know what? When you need something, you're going to call me.
I already did.
Why do you think I'm sitting in this chair?
Yeah. Well, not just for today, but,
I
you know, the daughter's wedding and
Yes.
whatnot. But, yeah, I mean.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
At Soscenic Photography.
For
on
sure.
Instagram. DM me today for a shoot.
Yeah, normally he's got his little phone case sitting up in front of the camera. There you go. You talk about branding. That's the way to do it.
Yep.
He's got it all over himself. It's like he's got a wrap on his car. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, man, we're like an hour and a half now, and you know, I think we can go ahead and wrap it up. We can wind it down.
Absolutely.
After all of the crap that happened in the beginning, and I think it ended up being pretty good. And all throughout, I'm just going to tell you, like, I've been messing around with the audio the whole time we were talking.
Yep.
I am so unhappy, but I apologize to everybody if there, you know, last week we had with Elliot, there was weird static going on and dogs barking. This week we didn't have dogs barking, but there's still some weird stuff going on with the audio. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. He said, this has been an amazing episode, fam. I appreciate that.
I appreciate that too.
Especially for the fact that I'm having to produce everything. Normally, I've got my son-in-law over there handling everything. So, Patty, can't wait for you to get back, and so I don't have to do this anymore.
Yes, he needs to be less distracted.
Yeah, I'm over here like I'm trying to, you know, I'm over here trying to get people into the live by posting things on Instagram and, you know, just making stupid, silly videos and whatnot. But
Don't let him fool you. He was actually Googling how to fix his soundboard.
fully.
That joke brought to you by Flow Flops. Get your.
I haven't used any of those yet. The little sound pads.
You gotta love it.
I mean, but I'll teach Patty how to use them and whatever. Thank you so much for coming all the way out here to the park. And I know people hate coming out here.
BFE, man.
It is a little bit. Well, and I'll just share with you while we're on, you know, my goal for this, you know, because I was talking to Josie and I met someone last night who's I can't remember what her title is, but anyways, she's corporate. She's some kind of corporate management trainer.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were just talking about it, and it's like, what's your objective with this? And my objective is to get the hell out of my garage and eventually get into a studio.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you know, I used to have a studio. It was nice, and everything was set the way I wanted it to be, blah, blah, blah. That's all gone now, so I'm now working here. And even though I'm still going to continue to make this thing, you know, better inside of here, I still want to get my own place, a different, you know. So that's the goal, the ultimate goal. So to everyone that comes on the show, to yourself, you're all helping me to get to that level. That's what I'm doing. And I'm just going to keep pumping and keep bringing people in until I hit that goal.
Yep.
So
We're glad to help. I'll come on anytime. Anytime you need me, you know I'm here.
be very careful what you say.
I know.
It's all being recorded.
We should do this. You know, we'll talk offline, but we should probably do some. It'd be kind of cool to do this. Maybe we talk to the guys at Collab. Maybe try to figure out something where we do one of our chats there at a networking event or something, and just bring people in, have people pop in or whatever.
Well, I'm thinking for the next event, I'm thinking I'm not going to shoot photos. I'm going to go vlog style.
the old man groan,
right?
as he's
That's
reaching
horrible.
for the.
So I'm gonna get my little shotgun mic and my you know, I learned a new trick with this. It's if you have one of these little shotgun mics and if you have a Rode Wireless Go 2, they can connect together and you can have a wireless boom mic, which is super fantastic.
It's not a bad. Wow.
So I'm gonna use that and just interview people. I want to just bring it out and interview people.
That's not a bad idea.
That's my goal.
There you go. See, already evolving.
For Barbie night, if I can make it, I do have a podcast guest that night. So
On Saturday?
Yeah. Oh, geez. Let me
plug. Come on, plug.
I know.
Who you got coming up?
For crying out loud. So, oh no, this Saturday I'm going to work with a band. I'm working with a band. I'm shooting their album release party on the 29th at Tabula Rasa Brewing Company. I've never been there, but I've heard it's amazing. So I'll be there. But coming up on August 2nd, we've got Cameron Lott.
Okay.
Do you know who Cameron is?
I do not.
He usually works the door at CoLab. He's
okay.
yeah,
Yes.
tall,
Sorry.
real tall,
Yes.
handsome model.
Sorry, Cameron. I should know.
Sorry, supermodel Cameron Lott.
Energy.
Yeah, very high energy.
100% energy.
So
Love
that's going to be fun. So I've got a lot of these podcasts coming up, and so lock it in.
Cameron, DM me. We need to shoot.
Yeah, for real. I'd love that. But yeah, absolutely. Lock in this podcast, subscribe, hit the little bell. That way, anytime I go live, you're going to know about it. And I appreciate all of the love and all the follows. Russell, give your info so that they know where to go find you.
Instagram page is at Soscenic Photography. That's SOSCENIC Photography, all one word.
I will put it in the description.
My daughter's account, if you're interested in following some sports photography and where her journey goes, is at Little Soscenic. It's real easy to remember. And then just stay you, stay true. That's what I say to everybody.
Keep on keeping on.
Just keep shooting.